It's time to cook with Suzy, the silly scientist, otherwise known as Susan Beck. I wish, spoke the king, to have you make something fall from the skies that no other kingdom has ever had before. What can you do? What can you make? For a moment, they stood there thinking, blinking their creaky eyes. Then they spoke one word. Ooblek. Ooblek? Asked the king. What will it look like? Won't look like rain, won't look like snow, won't look like fog. That's all we know. We just can't tell you any more. We've never made Ooblek before. They bowed. They started toward the door. We go now to our secret cave, a mystic mountain, Nicotave. There all night long we'll work for you, and you'll have Ooblek before we're through. They'll do something crazy, whispered Bartholomew. Call them back, your majesty. Stop them. That was an excerpt from the digital copy of Bartholomew and the Ooblek, written by Dr. Seuss. I'm reading to you from my tablet because I do not have access to my public library during this coronavirus pandemic. Another book, The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins, would be another great read for you if you like these Bartholomew books. It's a great time to check out what your library has to offer through Overdrive or whatever your system is for checking out digital books for free through your public library. Well, this is a book that I have read many, many times to my students. Back when I taught 5th grade, prior to moving to middle school, I would do this as part of our unit on mixtures because Ooblek is kind of a crazy substance, as we will see. Today, our cooking lesson will not be something you probably want to eat, although it will not hurt you. And we're going to move over to the counter here to find out how to make ourselves some Ooblek. The king summons his royal magicians to make something fall from the sky. He's tired of the rain and the fog and the sun even. And they decide they will make some Ooblek. And if you continue to read in the story, green slime falls from the sky. So today we are going to make Ooblek, and we are going to use cornstarch, green food coloring. You can use any color you'd like from your box, but green is the color that falls in the story by Dr. Seuss, and a cup of water. I'm going to just eyeball about half of this cornstarch. When I made this for my students, I always did a whole box of cornstarch. But, you know, today you probably don't want to clean your mother out of the little bit of cornstarch she might have left, since we're not doing much shopping and we're keeping our social distancing. Plus, half a box would be plenty for a couple family members to play around with. All right, I'm going to add into that 1 cup of water. And sometimes you might need to add a little more water. Sometimes you might need to add a little more cornstarch, depending on how well this comes together. So I'm just stirring this around, and as you can see, it's still kind of powdery there, but at the same time, I do have runny parts that just kind of roll with me as I go. So back to setting this down. I would hate to spill my Ooblek all over the kingdom of my house. Oh my, a little splattered out, but look at this. It fell out as a liquid, but I can pick it up as a solid. So this is why this is a great science project. Some of you might be missing out on science classes where you get to do some experiments due to the fact that you are home now and online learning isn't so conducive to that. I think my Ooblek could use just a little more water, so I'm going to drop in like another tablespoon, and I think this would be a good time to add my green food coloring. I have 2 drops in there today. See how green that makes it. All right, it's kind of hard to stir because at the moment my Ooblek is very solid. A solid, you know, something like this container. Oh my, I just realized I didn't put my safety glasses on for this. Oh, you should always use protection when doing science experiments. We'd hate to get Ooblek in the eye. All right, this is not turning very green. Ooh, in science we like bright colors. So let's put 2 more drops of green food coloring in. All right. Ooh, I can kind of chop it. Ooh, but on the side I can kind of stir it. This is some crazy Ooblek. So let's get it out of the bowl. You can see it better that way. All right, look at that. It picks up like a solid, but now it's running right down my hands. We'd better move this video closer. Ooh. Check out my green Ooblek. Can you imagine this falling from the skies? And we think we have problems now. I think I can make a ball out of it. Well, it just wants to go back to a liquid on me as it oozes on my hand. I think this would be great entertainment for some of you who are getting a little bit bored having to remain at home. All right, I'm going to transition this into a lesson that you could use in science. All right, I'm going to pull out my giant science binder here. Oh, this is just full of transparencies and pictures and science activities that I used to use when I used to go around the country teaching other teachers how they could be silly, crazy, mad scientists as well. So today I was digging this out because I wanted to remember all the different tests you can do if you want to treat this as a science experiment. Now, I added a little more water into this because what I find is as I use it, I think my hands absorb some of the water. So I have it back to where it's kind of runny again and it's moving around in my bowl here. All right, so according to my notes here, we're going to do a quick finger test first. So I'm going to start with, let's get some of this just into a smaller container. Oh, look at that just run. Ooh. Now again, this is not hard to clean up. It'll just peel right off my counter here, so parents, don't get excited if you think, my goodness, what a mess my kids are making. All right, so I have put this into a container, and our first test is the quick finger test. Well, my hand goes down fairly well into that if I go quickly. So that seems like it's more of a liquid, but if I do it slow, it's even easier to get my finger down in there, actually. And I can actually kind of pull some of it up with it as well. So I don't know, you'll have to make this. It varies from batch to batch on whether you decide if it's a solid or a liquid on each one of these tests. All right, conformity test. If I have a liquid, it should conform. I don't want something that's the same size. Let's grab this here rectangular container. If I pour this from this circular bowl into this rectangular bowl, a liquid would conform to the shape of my new container. Look at that, it will pour right out. And now instead of my Ooblek being in a round bowl, it has completely filled the rectangular glass container that I have here. All right, the pour test was another one. If I can pour this, it's a sign of a liquid, and I can just keep pouring this back and forth and having a grand old time with this. All right, another test we can do is the bounce test. So I'm going to see if I can make a ball out of my green Ooblek. And let's see if this will bounce when I drop it on the counter. Oh my, it's already going back to a liquid on me. I'm going to have to be much quicker at my scientific work here. All right. Look at that. It just fell, hit the table, and oozed. Let's get a close-up of that. It's making a nice ball. It seems solid for a moment. It even starts to kind of crack. All right, let's see if we can make this bounce. Woo! And there it goes, back right into what seems more like a liquid. Well, that was fun, and I even have Ooblek on my cell phone now. All right, let's kind of clean up some of this Ooblek here. Maybe we'll just grab another big handful here. Okay, another test you can do is the Shatter Test. You can put it in between some wax paper or parchment paper. So we'll put some in there. And when I put another piece on the top and I hammer it, does it shatter? Not really. I don't think I even want the wax paper on the top. Get these little dents of shattering, and then they fill back in again. All right, let's touch the phone again. Who cares if our hands are covered with Oobleck? All right, look at this. Whew, it shatters, it cracks, and it fills right back in again. What is this? Right, so let's wrap this up with two last tests, heating and cooling. Now, we would not want to heat our parchment or wax paper because that might catch on fire, and I did not wear my fire protective clothing today. So instead we're going to make a little bowl out of some tin foil. A little shallow bowl here with some sides on it, and so that we don't burn ourselves, we'll put a little clothespin on the end to keep our hands off of this. Now the tin foil will smoke sometimes. It will get black on the bottom, but it should not burn, at least not in the length of time we're going to spend on this. A nice safe way to play with fire at home is using a candle. So I'm going to light my candle. All right, there we go. We got our flame going. Let's grab some of this Ooblek and stick it into our tin foil bowl. And we're going to put that over the flame here. And we'll heat it up and see if anything happens. It's always interesting to ask these questions. What might happen if I heat it? Or put it in the freezer? Mine still seems pretty runny right now. My tin foil is really not very warm. Be careful about touching that at home, by the way. Probably shouldn't have done that on film. I could have burnt myself and had to run screaming to the cold water. Now the center seems to be getting quite hard. The part that's right over the flame is getting solid. Let's see if I can show you that. I have this like solid circle in the middle, but the outsides are still runny. It's getting more and more solid as I keep it over the heat here. You can tell which part has been heated and which part has not in my bowl. I slid it over. Maybe I can get the side to turn solid too. Oh yes, now it's all becoming much more solid. Look at that. Not running at all now when I hold it up. All right, blow out my flame. For the cool test, I would simply just let it sit here and cool and see what happens. This is my nice countertop. I think I might set that on top of something else, just in case. Back in school, in the science lab, we didn't have to worry about those kinds of things. All right, so hope you enjoyed my silly science, and maybe I'll make another one someday to entertain you during this COVID virus.